Good morning, pregame crew. I'm starting just a little early this morning. We have the jobs report in 4 minutes. It could be an absolute non-event, and it could also boost this market higher or pull it down. We have a squeeze going on right now in the 15-minute. The squeeze just means that we are building energy, storing energy in our Instapot pressure cooker. How's the sound? Audio visual good? Check. Hi, Brett, Benjamin, Davy Baby. Oh, Davy Baby, you haven't been here for a while, I don't think. Oh, you're in the community too. Awesome. Hey, Bobo, Roger, Danny, P. Court, Jason. Awesome. Spider-Man, thank you. Thank you, P. Court. Wonderful. The levels are on the chart. If you want to map it before we get started, if you are a futures trader. I don't talk a lot about futures trading. If you are a newer trader, I wouldn't trade futures to start, but if you're a more experienced trader, it offers amazing leverage and really clean trading. But you have to use stop losses. If you're not good at using stop losses, don't touch. Well, actually, you shouldn't be trading, but for sure, don't trade futures. It's a great way to wreck your account. Hey, Rob Pop, Callum, Peculiar, Robert Mack. Good morning, good morning. My chart setup is on the screen. I will be deleting it in just a sec. We have the yellow and purple 50 and 200 simple moving average. The green is the 8 EMA, the red is the 21 EMA. The yellow candles are just my inside bars. And then I use the CM Ultimate RSI multi-time frame. The green just means it's oversold, and when it's red, it just means it's overbought. Had a volatile day yesterday, a little bit more volatility coming into the market, which is welcome. As day traders, we need that volatility in order to get some good scalps in. Hey, Mustang and Cindy and Kevin. Happy Friday. So I'm going to delete the chart setup. I see all familiar faces, so y'all know the drill. Okay, so the levels are here. Now I'm going to zoom in. This is what I do when we have data coming out as I go to a shorter time frame. I'm looking at this, could be a potential head and shoulders. Let's see what the reaction is to the jobs number. Hopefully my alerts don't pop up and make it real loud. So your next support on ES, 419250, 419225, 418950. We'll see volume and volatility pick up, not just because of the jobs report, but because people are waking up. All right, we've got 1 more minute. I'll get started. I will kind of scroll down over here, so if you want to see what names I have in play for today, you can kind of get a heads up peek. And how do I trade the jobs report if I'm not live? I typically, any type of economic data like FOMC, whatever the initial reaction is, I typically like to reverse it after that initial pop. So 420250, that's our next resistance. 420250, looks like we're stopping there for a minute. The next resistance, 421325. Anybody have the number? The expectation, I posted it in the room. If you're part of TCG, you can look at it over there. Consensus was 671K and it was 559K. So we were just slightly short, but we didn't miss as bad as last month. So let me paste the number here. So non-farm payrolls, 559,000. Consensus was 671,000. So a slight miss. Unemployment rate, 5.8. So unemployment rate is actually, we beat consensus. All right, we're through resistance, 421325. I would say this would be neutral to positive as far as the data and how it's being received. This is not any big miss. Sometimes when the numbers are extra good, then we start fearing inflation, because if the numbers are great, then why is the Fed propping up our market? And then that could welcome or open the door for tapering or interest rate hikes, and that's inflation, and that's not good for the market. So a slight miss actually may be positive for the market. I know it all gets confusing, but the good thing is you don't have to know why the market's doing what it's doing. It can just do it and you're fine. You don't have to know why. You just trade the price action. So right now, if we're going to simplify our life, we're breaking through hourly higher highs. Look at the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, we really need to get through this 42.15. When we have all these levels kind of bunched up, I'm going to go for the higher level that we need to break in order for clarity. So if we could get over 42.15, that would be great. I just want to make note, I'm expecting a lot of volatility today, not just because of the jobs report, but because of the squeeze, which means we're building and storing pressure. So let's zoom in. So your support on any pullback, 41.9250, 41.9225. That is some nice bull volume. I would say this is a believable move at this point, meaning I don't know, I'm not expecting them to reverse it and pull it down. Doesn't mean they can't, but that's not what I'm expecting. So overall, let's kind of go back out. Let's look at the market. So you have your ES levels there. Nasdaq is a little bit weaker than the rest. It's bouncing harder, but if you look at it relative to the EMAs, it is well below the 200 MA on the hourly. And look at ES. ES is fighting above it. YM is clearly above it, and RTY is clearly above it. So despite the percentages throwing us off a little bit, I would say the strongest is RTY, then YM, then ES, and Nasdaq is the weakest, and then Nasdaq has a lot more to prove. So Nasdaq gets hurt the worst by inflation, so it's going to bounce the hardest on news that looks to be staving off or holding off inflation. So that jobs number is positively impacting Nasdaq better than the rest. Hey, Joshua, Muhammad, Rob, Angel, Steven. I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community. We teach technical analysis. We have a thriving community with many channels and interest. If you only want to trade Canadian stocks, we have a Canadian stocks channel. If you only like to trade cannabis and cannabis related stocks, we have a marijuana channel. If you just love crypto but you don't love Elon Musk tweets, we got a channel for that. And then we have just general, if you only like swing trading, we have that as well. So this is the pregame show, and I go over the Fab 4 futures, commodities, a little bit of crypto, movers and shakers for the morning, technical setups, and then I answer questions as time permits. So I do check into chat here and there. We have moderators over there. We have Jason, our partner. He is over there in chat. If you have any questions about the chart, guys, he can answer it. I haven't seen Dragon Man, our other mod, this morning, but anything you need, they will cover it. I can't really monitor it. And we cover requests 3 times a day over in the community. So if you really have a need to know what's going on with UNP or with UNH, you go over to the chat community, and during the live session, we have a little channel or thread, and you type in your request and we answer it. So positive move on ES. This should make for a nice bullish day. So what the bulls have to do is change the hourly trend. In order to change the hourly trend, they have to hold the low of yesterday and then break the high of yesterday. So whatever name you're looking at, so just whatever name it is, let's look at Apple. So Apple needs to hold the low of yesterday, which it has a little bit of positive news, and then it needs to break the high of yesterday. So if you were to map out the high and low of yesterday, Apple, the high, 124.85, the low, 123.13, map out your high and low on your chart of whatever name you're looking at, and then that is the checklist. Hold the low, check. Break the high of yesterday, check, and then it's bullish. If it breaks the low of yesterday, it automatically goes in the bearish category, and I wouldn't be trading that name to the bullish side. So on ES, we have our levels. Let me go back to the 15-minute. On Nasdaq, we're stopping at resistance of 136.0950. 136.0950 was the high of yesterday's bounce, so we need to get over that, and we're looking for a lower high relative to 1366875. So that's your levels for the Nasdaq. And on the hourly, I'm noting squeezes on a lot of charts, meaning pressure is building and we could get some volatility today in all of these names. Here are your levels for the Dow. If we back up on the Dow and we look at the daily, this chart looks fine. No serious issues whatsoever. This chart is healthy. We're holding the 8 EMA on the daily. No problems. And when we look at the Nasdaq, it is not faring as well. You see how it's below the key EMAs and the 50 MA, the simple 50 moving average is the yellow line. We're testing, trying to push up over it. Bulls would love to see a close above the 50 MA on the Nasdaq. So this weekend I will be doing the swing report along with the swing report team, and we look at the relative rotation, we look at all the markets, and we pick some swing names. And what we like to see is closes over the 50-day, because the algos don't like it. They don't like it when we have closes below the 50-day. When you have closes below all key EMAs, it is bearish. YM, let me zoom back in, make sure you got all those levels. RTY, here are the levels. Let's zoom out and look at RTY on the daily. RTY on the daily, we are well above the 50 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 8 EMA is faring much better than the Nasdaq. What does that mean? Our small cap names, if RTY is bullish, our small cap names like AMC, which AMC is part of the IWM, can run. They can do better in a bullish RTY environment. So here's your levels on RTY, nice bull volume. I hope that I'm pointing this out clearly on so many different time frames, these squeezes where we're getting volatility. We're running into the underside of a downtrending 200 MA here. So we're initially rejecting from 2289.20, your next resistance 2297.30, then 2300 psychological. All right. On a closing basis, so Kevin, it's candle close above. So to make it simple, we need to have a candle close above. Let me draw it. So if this is the candle, my drawing skills, y'all know, are limited. We just need a candle close above. We want the body of the candle to be above that key moving average. In this case, Nasdaq daily 50 MA. The 50 MA right now is at 1357150, and I'm quoting that as right now because of course it moves up or down with price, but we need a candle close above. We need the body to clear it, the body of the candle to clear it. All right, so on RTY, you've got those levels. Okay, ES is pulling back a little bit more here. We need it to hold this low, 41.9250. If it breaks the low of this 5-minute uptrend, that would not be good for the day. So right now they're reversing it. They're just catching their breath. Commodities, nice move on gold. Your gold levels are, okay, we mapped this earlier this morning. So your high of this move, 1884.80. On any move up higher, we would still expect a lower high. What time frame is this? On the daily, I'm going to clear this. Any bounce, we're looking for a lower high. So gold bears are just ready to pounce. The question is, will they pounce at the 21 EMA or the 50 EMA on the 4-hour? And the bulls, gold bulls, will need to get a 4-hour higher low and work on changing that 4-hour trend. With futures, 4-hour is my hurdle. They trade 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. So I go by the 4-hour, not the hourly. The 4-hour is the hurdle to change that trend, get that higher low, and start building a more bullish structure and try to get through all of this price history overhead. So oil looks great. We talked about it yesterday. Definitely one of the more bullish commodities and names we were looking at in a sea of red. Let's see. So here are your new levels on oil. Your resistance 69.29, 69.40, support 68.88, 68.61. Something happened this morning with Nat Gas. I could not find the news for the life of me. Something happened over here. I don't know if it was a fat finger order or if it was news related, but lots of volatility over in Nat Gas. So now we have a 15-minute equilibrium. So anytime I say EQ, that is short for equilibrium, where price is balancing out after a huge move. So Nat Gas had a crazy move, and then here's the 15-minute on oil. the dollar must be getting whacked for gold to bounce, oil to bounce. If the dollar is lower, it helps commodities. So oil, we have rig count on Fridays, I believe 10:30 Central. It doesn't typically affect oil majorly or make it really volatile unless it's some type of crazy surprise. Bitcoin's getting a nice bounce here. Elon tweeted that they were oh, no problem, Kevin. Elon said that the broken heart is breaking up with Bitcoin, whatever the reason. So on the daily, here are all your levels for Bitcoin, first of all. So on the weekly, we have weekly inside bars. That's the biggest inside bar. Last week's resistance, 40,900. Support, 33333. That's kind of fun. And we are staying within the range of last week. So overall, the Bitcoin bulls are hoping this isn't a bear flag. It still has the possibility to be one. So on the 4 hour, we just lost this key support, 35669, which crypto loves to do. Broke below it by $77 and popping. So on the 15 minute, we need to get over 37.03274. Get over it. Get that higher low, then change the trend. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So any chart that you're looking at, excuse how ugly this is, but any chart that's in a downtrend, you have 3 steps in order to change the trend. Get the higher high, get the higher low, then get that higher high. Or it could be a lower high, higher low, then go break that trend to a higher high. Need more coffee. Okay, same thing with Ethereum. 266794 is your resistance, then 276928. Your key support, 255228. Now let's zoom out here. On the 4 hour, I think I mapped this on the hourly. Yeah, 255228. Did we hit that? Oh, we came within $2.83 of that. So we hit that, and now we're bouncing. Same hurdle. 15 minute. We can get a lower high, get that higher low, and then get that higher high. How do I pick everyday stocks, Sammy? I look at the small cap gainers. I don't focus on those because at newer traders or even somewhat experienced traders, small caps can wreck you. So I go over small caps if they are in the news and they have good technical setups or there's major hype around them. I will go over them. I was looking at this name this morning, SENS. What can I tell you at this point? You know, if you're interested in trading this, the trade was to be in over here on the long side. Here, the only thing that you could do is to short a bounce at 295 or 308. And it's one of the highest risk shorts that you can do. If you're really experienced, it's high risk, high reward. But I do look at small caps. I look at the volume and I weigh the risk to reward of bringing it up. Is it a very high risk situation that I don't want to put y'all in? I mean, I don't know if there's a higher risk situation than AMC. Look at all these levels I have mapped out for us. But I do look at small cap gainers. It depends on the technical setup. So with Apple, let's start here. Let me stay in order. So with Apple is my favorite name to trade on Friday for lottos. And it's only, of course, if it has a good technical setup. So yesterday we had this tightening range. We stayed within that range the rest of the day. So now we're popping up over it. I want to get over that range during regular trading hours. I would love a pullback. Let me zoom in a little bit now. I would love a pullback to 12380 if we could pull back and then get into the long side if the market is still going up, which it is. So I would love to play Apple to the long side. I would say this is one of my King of the Mountain setups for the day is to look for Apple lottos. So I would look to, if it were to run straight into 12485 and the market was soft, I would look to short it. If it would run straight to 12485 and the market was strong, there would be no trade because that means I didn't get a pullback to enter. If you don't know by now, I like a pullback to enter, especially if I'm entering options. If it just starts running at open, then I'm going to pay a high premium to play the game. And I don't want to pay those high premiums in options, especially on Fridays, because it's very difficult to get your money back out of it. So those are your levels on Apple, and that is my game plan. AMC. AMC has this wide range from Wednesday. So if we look at, excuse all the white lines. So this is Wednesday's range. We had an inside bar yesterday. Odds favor another inside bar today with how wide this range is and how we're opening in the middle of it. So if we were opening to the lower end of yesterday's range around 37, let's say we were down at $40, then we could just roll over right at open. So option sellers are killing it today. All those options that they sold this week to everyone expecting it to go to $145, they've got a premium crush yesterday. Who knows what's going to happen today? No one really knows, but here are your key levels. We've got this tightening range at open. Bulls will be looking to buy a dip to $45 and then stop out at $44.15 as loss. Bears will be looking to short either $57.28, that key fib level, or $68.80. I would only trade this if you're an experienced trader. It is providing amazing volatility, but it can be a tough trade for newer traders. There's easier things to trade than AMC. AVGO, they had earnings that was positively received. Here are the levels. I say positive, it's actually neutral, but there's a lot of hype around how great the earnings was and the guidance. This isn't a king of the mountain trade for me. It did have some pre-market volume and it had those earnings. So if you're interested in trading it, you could possibly buy a pullback to 462, but it just stays even more muted. It had popped up earlier and it made my list, but right now looks kind of dull. Bingo. Bingo, I would like to short a bingo pop into 661 area. I would be looking to short bingo. So it's up 2% in pre-market. I don't know what the news was, if any, but I think a short would be in order for me on bingo. 661. It is not a king of the mountain, but it's on my short list. Disney. Bob Iger, there's news that he sold 98.5 million of his shares. And I was looking at overall on Disney, it looked like a weekly bear flag. And if we kept popping, it could be a head and shoulders, a right shoulder forming on this weekly chart. So overall, it looks bearish to me. I would look to short 17744 if it could run into that. However, if the market's super strong, which is really going now, if it's super strong, that's just, there's no reason to play the short game on almost any name if the market's running. Then I would look for my longs like Apple. So let me state that better. So if the market is strong, which it looks like it's really getting its jetpack is going, then I would only be looking long plays. If the market were to pull back and pull back hard, then I would go to my list of short plays like bingo or Disney. Right now, the long side, I'm looking at Apple. So the market overall, how the market's doing will affect my plays. Docu had amazing earnings. This is one of my king of the mountain plays. So on the 5-minute, if we could get a pullback to 205, I would love to trade this long with lottos today. 205. Now, if we come back and we break 205 by $1, come down to 204, that doesn't mean game over for my trade. Then I'm still going to wait for like a 2-minute higher high, higher low, and then I could get in long. So even if it pulls back below 205 to 204, so you see how there's some subjectivity. I have to wait to see how it sets up to see if it's going to meet my trade criteria. But Docu and Apple to the long side, those are my two long king of the mountain trades for today. And the shorts are bingo and Disney. Lulu, one thing I've been meaning to tell y'all is the 3-day touch rule or no touch rule. When a stock dumps after earnings like DLTR did, we talked about that 2 weeks ago. Anytime something dumps after earnings, there's a 3-day no touch rule. Why? Because it can go a lot further down than you think it can go, and then downgrades come in the next day. That's what happened with Lulu. Lulu had a pop. People didn't like their earnings. They're downgrading it today. So this is more of a neutral setup for me at this point. But here are the levels if you want to trade it. If it were to run into, I just don't see that happening. Never mind, I'm not even going to say that trade setup. So Lulu, I thought we were going to get some more action this morning. I mapped the levels, but it's kind of dull as well. Tesla should have some nice volatility for you today. Let me map those levels again because things changed. So Tesla had some bad China news saying that their sales were down, things didn't look good, and it really dumped on that China news. And then I traded NEO to the short side as a correlation trade. So it really dumped. If we were to pop and go back up into this range, because we cleared out the order book so fast, you know how that goes, we could squeeze up into it fast. So Tesla should have some nice volatility. Be careful. What have I been telling y'all all week? I've been crystal clear on my view of Tesla. EMAs are overhead. We had a weekly bear flag potential, and it's looking to potentially confirm. Our low of yesterday, 571.22. This name just looks I was going to say, I'm not going to curse. There's kids in cars. So 570 is your low of yesterday's after hours. That could be a dip buy opportunity if we were to pull back, but shorting Tesla down here doesn't make any sense anymore. I'd back off that short idea. 4 hour got oversold and it's beat up. If you want to short it, you really need to wait for a bounce. Workhorse, here are the levels. It got cut from outperform to perform, or market outperform to perform, and with a price target of $13. So if the market is strong, I wouldn't be looking to short Workhorse, but Workhorse was on my list because I love this tightening range. I love this squeeze. It had some nice pre-market volume. Would love to short either 1570 or even better 1734. But with the market overall strength, now Workhorse is not heavily weighted in any ETF. It can do its own thing. It can dump while the market's going up. But overall, why play names to the short side if the market is having a strong day? But I would look to short 1570 or 1734 if the market was soft. Okay, SPY. Okay, we've changed our levels since I mapped this, so let's get some more. That's a pre-market spike. 42123 is the level. Let's look at yesterday. Let me do what I told y'all is the best way to do it. So let's look at yesterday's high, yesterday's low. The SPY bulls, they've held yesterday's low so far in pre-market. If they come back and tag 419.99, that may be an area to go long SPY. SPX 0 days. 0 days are days in which they have 0 days to expiration. Those can be amazing lottos. So SPX lotto may be another king of the mountain trade for you. So 419.90 or 419.99 on any pullback. So it looks like we're getting through the high of yesterday. The bulls may need to take a breather. Let's see. And then QQQ. We are not getting through yesterday's high of 331.86. So if QQQ can't get through the high of yesterday, it may ruin the bulls fun day, the market bulls fun day, if QQQ can't get through 33186. So maybe it just needs a quick pullback and then it can get through. Wow, I've been talking nonstop. Shorting sends at $3. I like that, Steven. I really like that idea. If you're an experienced trader, I like it. Blink. Let's look at Blink. And I will need to wrap up in just a couple minutes and head over to the TCG community and listen to our live that starts there in 6 minutes. So here are your levels on Blink. On the daily, this is a double top. This is a perfect short, actually. $41 and $40.93. This is a perfect double top. The bulls may need to pull back a little bit to try to get over $41 one more time. Short squeeze is just a fun fact, but it's not a tradable information if you don't have a technical setup. So with Blink, I would be looking to short a pop up at $41 again. All right, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be great. I hope y'all have a great trading day and a great weekend, and use stop losses.